Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, Jarrell, Big Baby Miller, we're going to talk about him for a second because he had some very interesting statements recently in regards to the Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz situation. And I'm going to read them to you guys, and I'll give you guys my take here in a second. But here's what Big Baby himself said in regards to the whole Ortiz-Wilder situation. He said, I quote, "I'll tell you the reason why, and y'all might think it's a conspiracy theory, but I'll tell you how it is and how I feel. Ortiz doesn't look no way like he looked 2 or 3 years ago. If you look at his body and how he performed, number one, he is signed up for the WBC drug program, so he's been on that for months already leading up to this fight. He's been on blood pressure pills for longer than whatever his fight duration is, so they've been knew about those pills or whatever he was on. But they use it a month out to deteriorate the fight and put a lesser opponent on there so Deontay can look good, get a win, and then move on to a big payday with Anthony Joshua. So for me, it's a conspiracy. People can say what they want, but I already know how most of these people are with money, and their agenda is to put it in the media. But for me, that's how I feel, and that's how I see it, because Ortiz is going to give Wilder a problem. I think if Deontay stuck to his game plan, he might still come out the winner. But like I said, they know how limited he is. End quote. So Big Baby, is telling it how it is. I think, there's really no way of me or you or any boxing fan knowing what goes on behind the scenes unless you know people in the WBC and they're telling you what's going on. There's really no way of me and you knowing. So that's that. But what you got to look at is the WBC itself. WBC itself. And I'm going to tell you how this relates to the situation. So the WBC itself is already a ridiculously corrupt organization. Now, if we look at just who they replaced Ortiz with, Stavern, according to the WBC's own rules, isn't even supposed to be in the rankings. The rankings state that if a fighter is inactive for 9 months, they're supposed to be lowered in the rankings. If they're inactive for 12 months, they're supposed to be removed from the rankings. He's been inactive for almost 2 years, and he's going to get rewarded for his inactivity by getting a big fight in New York City at a great venue at the Barclays Center against Deontay Wilder in a rematch. So you gotta really look at that. You gotta look at that. An organization that has rules that doesn't follow them. So if they're not going to follow something as simple as that, I'm not taking sides. I'm saying, who is to say that they didn't know about the Ortiz pain medication? And I'm not saying it's good that Ortiz didn't tell him. I think Ortiz is wrong. I thought he should have told VADA, he should have told the WBC, he should have did all that and took the extra precaution so this didn't happen. So it's on him too. But what I'm saying is the WBC is a corrupt organization, and I'm not saying Jarrell Miller isn't wrong. He's a fighter. He's dealt with the WBC, and what he's saying is true. To even be in the top 10, you got to be signed up for the clean boxing program. That's why Jarrell's not in the rankings, because he didn't sign up for the clean boxing program himself. So with that being said, I think there's a lot of things that could point to Ortiz and his manager possibly being in the right, honestly, because Ortiz, he's in the rankings, so that means he signed up for the program. And like I said earlier, if they're not going to follow their own rules with who they with the rankings, then why should we believe them when they say, this guy was taking this and he didn't tell us? Who say he didn't tell him? I'm just saying, man. I think Jarrell's got a point, and I don't know. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this, because this is a situation where, I'm not saying I don't agree with the fact that Wilder was afraid of him. I think Wilder would have fought Ortiz. But like I said, Ortiz messed up too, where he actually, I guess, didn't tell VADA or the WBC and whatnot. So my thing is, I don't think Wilder is afraid of him, but I will say this: I think Wilder definitely helped the fight get canceled, with his ridiculous overreactions. I think he helped the fight get canceled because he saw it as like a get out of jail free card. It's like, why fight Ortiz, a guy who's going to give me problems, when I can just go fight somebody I already beat who hasn't fought in 2 years? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If I was in this situation, I'd probably do the same thing too. It's an easier fight. I'm getting money, so why not? But my thing is just like, bro, we want to see this guy in there with a top heavyweight. In the eyes of a lot of boxing fans, I'm not saying every boxing fan, but there's a big section of the boxing community out there that does feel like the WBC, Suleiman, all you guys out there are protecting him. A lot of people feel that way, and I feel like it's just. It's a just feel. I think it's almost a just feeling to have because he hasn't fought anybody. It's I know there were some things with I never really. So I'm not gonna comment too much on it, but like I know there's some stuff with the Povetkin thing where there were some things that pointed towards Povetkin being innocent, and that fight didn't happen. He got to fight Areola instead. Now he's supposed to fight Ortiz, and now it's pain medication, and then he'll probably when he fights Joshua, probably Joshua will test positive for drinking Dr. Pepper. Like at this point, everything's coming out positive at this point. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of gray areas with the WBC. I mean, if the guy was signed up for the clean boxing program and he was in the rankings, then I don't know. Something's off about that. So what I've been hearing is like what I've seen and what I've been hearing is like, okay, they're gonna, probably look to reschedule this fight later. But still, it's just a weird situation to me. And even if he took anabolic steroids again in his career, Romain Stavern should not be fighting Deontay Wilder. Like that's to me that's the part where I feel like when people are gonna have these conspiracy theories and they're gonna say that that the WBC is protecting Wilder. I think the fact that they don't even follow their own rankings, that would actually lend more credibility to them, doing some ridiculous stuff. And you also got to look at like who Stavern's promoter is. It's Don King. So who's to say that Don King didn't pay his way? Who's to say that Don King didn't pay his way up in the rankings, which he did. That's why Stavern's number one. But who's to say he didn't pay the WBC extra money to perhaps, get Stavern in there, come up with some BS excuse, and who knows, man. There's a lot of possibilities. I'm spitballing here. I want to get you guys' opinions on this. I think as boxing fans, we all just want to see the best fights. We want to see the best fights. We do want the sport to be clean. So I'm not condoning Ortiz taking the pain medications. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is, I think Jarrell brought some points up that are valid, and I think that overall, like Teddy Atlas has said many times, boxing is a beautiful sport. But the administrators of the sport, they stink. They really do stink, and there has to be just like in the MLB or the NHL or the NBA or the Premier League, there has to be a body of people that govern the governors, if that makes sense, that oversee things, and they don't have that. So until they have that, you're always gonna have gray areas. You're always gonna have things like this, and it's the nature of the sport. So let me know what you guys think about Jarrell Miller's comments, basically saying that the WBC is protecting Wilder and all that stuff, and that he's afraid of Ortiz, and that the WBC is just, making up all these lies about Ortiz. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.